Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect 2. My name is Pete and today we complete the first part of the Lair of the Shadow Broker DLC, a mission that we already kind of begun in the last episode with a short conversation with Liara. Now, we left off last time in Liara's office, and as you can see we have traveled a bit to the docking bay and merchant area of Illium, where we will in a second take a cab to Liara's apartment because she wanted to meet us there.
Okay, listen, give Thax a full refund, do you hear me? He knows, I don't know how, it doesn't matter. Credit him a full refund now, and then get your ass someplace safe.
This conversation, by the way, is the result of Samara's recruitment mission, during which we found a crate of stolen goods and reported that to the crate's owner, Mr. Thax. And it seems like we just stumbled across someone involved in the theft, but we have bigger things to worry about, so let's call the cab and make our way over to Liara's place.
Seal off those trace samples and get them back to the lab.
We got multiple shots fired. Yeah, techs are going over the place now.
Central, we got an open carrier on this end. Switching to a coded relay.
What's going on?
This area is sealed off. Please step back, sir.
Sealed off? Why?
Someone tried to kill your friend, Commander Shepard. Thank you, officer. Your people are dismissed.
You can't do that.
Already done. Tela Vasir, Special Tactics and Recon.
A Spectre?
I heard your status was reinstated. Good. You're one of our most famous operatives. Might even get you to sign my chest plate. So, I assume you had business with your friend this evening, Commander.
Liara was following a lead on the Shadow Broker.
The Shadow Broker. Dangerous enemy to have.
Okay, it looks like Liara's place has been sufficiently trashed. Liara herself is nowhere to be seen though, so let's find out all that we can.
What are the facts so far?
About 25 minutes ago, someone took a shot at T'Soni. Note the bullet holes. She stuck around for almost 4 minutes before leaving the building. Whatever she was doing was important.
Did the police find anything when they arrived?
Just the mess and the bullet holes. I gave them a gold star for finding the bullet holes.
If Liara isn't here, where is she?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be sifting through her crap. There's no blood, no body. It looks like T'Soni got away. The sniper didn't plan on her kinetic barrier. Clever girl. Paranoid, but clever.
Now, with Liara expecting us here and sticking around for a while even after the attack, it seems likely that she may have left a clue for us, so perhaps that is what we should be looking for.
Liara was expecting me. She would have left a message here. Her office wasn't safe.
I'm not surprised. Illium is just Omega with expensive shoes. I haven't found anything useful for tracking her down yet. You knew T'Soni better than I do. Where would she have hidden her backups?
Let me take a look around.
Okay, we can now look around Liara's apartment here, and let's start with the most prominent thing, the bullet hole in the window.
The rifle used to do that wasn't standard issue. The kinetic barrier deflected the shots, but they still managed to penetrate the glass.
It's part of my old armor.
Looks like someone didn't like you much either. Don't worry, Commander. We'll find her. A doctorate from the University of Cerberus, back on Thessia. She's getting good use out of all that education.
Okay, nothing so far, and the kitchen area over here is also empty, but there is also a painting over here on the right.
Yeah, that's not the Asari homeworld. I'm not sure what planet that is.
It's Ilos.
So, no clues on the ground floor, but who knows, maybe Liara left something for us upstairs.
The picture changed when you touched it. It must be keyed to your ID. What does it show now?
It's a Prothean dig site. Liara did leave a message.
There are a few Prothean-looking objects around the apartment. Let's see what we can find.
Okay, time to check out Peruvian Artifacts, of which there are a few here.
Those things must be worth a fortune. She was certainly into ugly. No offense.
Vasir, I've got something here.
Backup disk. Let's try it on her terminal. It looks like she recorded a call.
What have you got for me, Sagat?
It was tricky, but you paid for the best. I can narrow it down to a cluster, maybe even a system.
How soon can you have it?
Shouldn't take long. Come to my office. Baria Frontiers in the Dracon Trade Center. Gotta say though to Sony, you're making me a little nervous. How big is the trouble that could come out of this?
Relax, Sagat. I'll see you in a few hours.
Alright, first morality choice of this conversation, and we will of course show ourselves concerned for Liara for 2 Paragon points.
This must be important. The Shadow Broker's people already tried to kill her once.
I know where the Dracon Trade Center is. My car's outside.
Let's go.
The Baria Frontiers offices are located on the 3rd floor. I don't hear police chatter. We must have missed the party.
Liara's in there!
This could be a problem.
They just took out 3 floors to make sure she's dead. I'll grab this Sky car and seal off the building from the top.
I'll start down here and work my way up.
Just leave some for me.
Alright, time for some action. Let's see who or what we will find.
What happened?
Someone please help me.
Help me.
Was it a bomb? What happened?
Who are you? What's going on? Oh God, what's happening?
Please exit the building in an orderly fashion. Emergency power engaged.
Vasir, the elevators are out and building security is down.
No alarms, no police. Very professional.
Right, looks like we're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing, which is not exactly reassuring.
Industry for over 120 years. The Dracon Trade Center takes pride in being home to Illium's corporate elite.
Baria Frontier employee. Looks like he got caught in the explosion.
I wouldn't take any bets onto Sony's informant surviving that blast.
Okay, so we grabbed our first crate of credits downstairs. Now we can head 1 level higher and also loot a medical station on the way.
Set the bombs, killing everyone.
Casualty here. Looks like he's got bullet wounds. Watch yourself, Vasir. They used military-grade hardware.
Bullet wounds. Guess this was more than just an explosion.
Okay, this should be enough to tell us that we probably have hostiles in the building. For now though, things are quiet, so we can loot the PDA on a corpse over here, as well as a medical station on the wall around the corner. Up next, we're heading up another wide set of stairs, and we want to turn to the right first, because that is where we can find some power cells.
Is the leading industry authority on resource logistics and management. We are committed to providing clients with secure, affordable, and efficient solutions to all their transportation needs.
Now, we will eventually return to this area, so we could also leave them here to grab them later, but we're likely not going to use our heavy weapon between then and now, and there will be enough regular ammo available. We can now also hack the ATM here for another big pile of credits, and then we can and should investigate a bomb in the corner.
Vasir, I found a military-grade explosive device. It hasn't been armed.
Sloppy work. You use that kind of hardware when you don't have time to plan.
Okay, looks like we might not be too late after all. Let's see what we find in the office.
Vasir, I'm at the Baria Frontiers office. Liara signed in just a few minutes ago.
Understood, Commander.
Welcome to Baria Frontiers. Let us be your guide to limitless possibilities.
Alright, looks like it's time for some combat, as we are now going up against agents of the Shadow Broker.
Here, I'm pinned down. Mercs, and they're well armed.
Say hello to the Shadow Broker's private army, Commander.
Now, these Shadow Broker agents are very closely resembling the Blue Sun's mercenaries. They all have shields and they're all equipped with pretty standard weaponry. And even though their shields are pretty flimsy, disruptor ammo is probably the go-to choice against these guys, and the fact that they all have shields is also the reason why we brought both Garrus and Miranda with Overload along. Now, one thing that separates these guys from other regular troopers, like those of the Blue Suns for example, that is their frequent use of flashbang grenades. And these flashbang grenades work a little differently than those that Kasumi has available to her. Not only do they blind us temporarily if we stand too close, they're also able to knock us out of cover, and they deal quite a bit of damage against shields. For that reason, they should be avoided at all costs, as they can quickly put us in a position where just a few more enemy shots can take us down for good. Now, also unlike mercenaries of the Blue Suns and the Eclipse, the Shadow Broker has biotics at his disposal, appearing on screen right here as the Shadow Broker Vanguard. Their only offensive biotic ability is Warp, and they carry shotguns, so they are not too dangerous at a long distance, but if they are allowed to get close, they can wreak some havoc. Now at this point, with this group of enemies defeated, we want to take a quick detour through the office on the left here, where we can obtain a well-hidden pile of credits from a computer terminal. Afterwards, we head back outside in the direction where the Vanguard came from, and it doesn't take long until we meet our next group of enemies. And as you can see, just like the Eclipse, the Blue Suns, or the Blood Pack, the Shadow Broker also makes use of heavies, and they can be engaged just like any other heavies in the game, ideally with a quick shot to the head before they can launch a rocket. Now, more Shadow Broker agents are waiting in this area, so this is a pretty lengthy fight to begin the mission, but it gives you a good first taste of this mission's difficulty, as this fight right here might still be considered one of the easiest. And for that reason, it is generally recommended to complete this DLC fairly late in the game, otherwise it is just unnecessarily difficult, and what is actually one of my personal favorite storylines in this game can quickly become a grind. And by the way, when to complete this mission is actually a question that has been discussed very often in the Mass Effect community, because it is not simply about the mission's difficulty, but also about the potential rewards. Without spoiling too much, I think I can reveal that at the end of this mission there are a few pretty powerful rewards waiting for us, and if you wait too long to actually play this mission, then, well, those rewards are not going to be all that useful. So this has always been a bit of a negotiating process for me. There are actually people who strictly play this mission only after the game's main storyline has been completed, and story-wise that does actually make some sense, but if you're then no longer able to actually use the mission's rewards in other missions, then that's a bit underwhelming. Now at this point we have actually taken care of all enemies in the area, so let's quickly grab another pile of credits from this terminal over on the right before we loot the medical station in the back of the room.
Affirmative! Vasir, these damaged pipes are on fire. They're blocking the stairs.
Look for a switch to activate the fire suppressant systems.
Okay, and that switch is right here in the next room.
Got it. Should be clear now.
Good. I'm on my way down.
Alongside some Element Zero and some credits. As we now make our way upstairs, we can prepare for one more short firefight, which is really only slightly challenging because the enemies can surprise us very easily, but other than that they don't pose too much of a threat. Alright, that's another group taken care of. Let us now collect whatever ammo we can find and then proceed. And in the next room here, we want to turn to the right first for an easily missable pistol upgrade.
This might be useful.
Once we have that, we can already switch back to the sniper rifle, grab the contents of the wall safe on the left here, and then use the door to continue.
Damn it. If I'd have been a few seconds faster, I could have stopped them.
Is this Saket?
Must have been.
No sign of that data Liara talked about. Looks like a dead end.
Speaking of which, did you find your friend's body?
You mean this body?
Okay, looks like Liara has a different view on how all of this went down. At least for now, though, we will try to defuse the situation, which will also grant us 2 more Paragon points.
Liara! This is Vasir. She's a Spectre.
This is the woman who tried to kill me.
You've had a rough day, so I'll let that slide. Why don't you put that gun down?
I saw you. I doubled back after I left. I watched you break into my apartment.
And, well, in hindsight, that does actually explain a lot. Most importantly, though, I think it's not surprising that we side with Liara over a Spectre that we met just a few hours ago.
So, what? You were just using me to find the message?
Nothing personal, Shepard. Just needed a little help tracking down Liara.
Once she had my location, she signaled the Shadow Broker's forces. They bombed the building to take me out. She found Saket, took his data, and killed him. I'm guessing she's still got the disc on her.
Good guess. Not that you'll ever see what's on it. You pure blood bitch!
Alright, here we are now after the big betrayal, and we are actually back in that room that we went through earlier, the room that also had the power cells and the makeshift bomb inside. For now, though, we have to worry about even more Shadow Broker agents, so after fighting our way into the building, we now have to fight our way back out of it. Since the first 2 groups of agents appear at the opposite end of this very large area, the sniper rifle is once again a very good tool for the job, especially as it allows for one-shot kills against most of the enemies here, which also drastically reduces the number of flashbang grenades we will encounter. Apart from the regular agents, we only have 1 Vanguard mixed in at this point, so this first section of our fight back out of the building should not be too difficult. Now, if you are at any point in this fight running out of ammunition and you have in fact saved the power cells for later, then now would be a great time to go and grab those, but at least when it comes to regular ammunition, our enemies here are dropping quite a bit of that, so if we keep our eyes open, we should not be completely dried out before the next fight starts. Speaking of which, we have now stumbled upon our final group of enemies in this building. Among them, however, is also a Shadow Broker Heavy, an enemy that can, as always, do quite a bit of damage. One thing that's a bit tricky about this fight is the wave of reinforcements, because as you may remember from earlier, the exit of this building is right around the corner to the left here, and that's also where more enemies will be spawning once all agents in the room have been taken care of. That might be a bit surprising if you just want to clear out the room and leave, and then all of a sudden you turn the corner and run into a group of fresh new forces. With a slightly more careful approach though, the exit out of the building should not be too much of a problem. As we leave, we can see the elevator over on the other side there is still deactivated, so there is nothing holding us back. Let's make our exit.
I'm fine, by the way. Thanks for asking.
Alright, at this point we have a choice to make between Garrus and Miranda, and we are taking Garrus not only because he's much more familiar with Liara, but also because on top of his overload he has a bit more firepower, while Miranda mostly offers biotic abilities, and those will already be well taken care of with Liara in the squad.
Come on, she's getting away!
Alright, we're now doing a bit of a taxi chase here.
There she is.
And I won't be talking too much throughout this sequence.
Hang a right. No, wait, left.
I'm on her.
Hang a left.
Now, the goal of this chase is pretty simple. We just can't lose our target. Everything else is more or less scripted, so we just have to fly.
She's around the corner. She's getting away. We're not going into the construction site, are? Oh, goddess. I'm not letting her escape with that data. She's almost out of range. Go, 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 go!
I'm going!
Traffic! Oncoming traffic!
We'll be fine.
She's dropping proximity charges.
I noticed.
Now, these proximity charges of course need to be avoided, but again, that's not too difficult to achieve.
She's got reinforcements!
What kind of guns does this thing have?
It's a taxi. It has a fare meter.
Wonderful.
Truck!
I know.
Truck!
I know. There we go.
You're enjoying this. A head-on collision at this speed.
Yeah, I hear those can be bad for you.
And here we are, more or less at the finish line, even though it doesn't look like it. In just a few moments, this chase will come to an end.
Truck!
Again?
Watch out.
Azure, get me some damn backup.
There's Vazir's car. Come on, she can't have gotten far.
Okay, here we are, and we have received experience points, enough so that we can level up again. And let's take care of that right away. Both Shepard and Garrus won't actually receive any upgrades, but with Liara we have not spent a single squad point, so let's get on that. As with pretty much every squad member, we are starting things off with their class-specific ability. In Liara's case, that's Asari Scientist for a boost in health, weapon damage and power recharge time. For the ability evolution, we can decide between Controller and Operative, and since Liara is a powerful and versatile biotic, we are going with Controller. Shooting guns is not really her main occupation. Up next, we will max out and evolve Stasis, a power that should be familiar from Mass Effect 1. However, it has received a few tweaks that make it much more useful in this game. Yes, it does still make a target immune to damage for a certain amount of time, but once Stasis wears off, the target will fall to the ground and be much more vulnerable. Combined with the fact that Stasis usually lasts as long as it takes for the ability to recharge, it becomes clear that you can more or less spam this against individual enemies, and with the enhanced Stasis evolution, targets are also much less resistant to this ability, so we can use it more frequently on the same target before the ability no longer works. With our remaining squad points, we are then spending one more point in Singularity just to have that available and unlock Warp at the same time, and Warp will also receive a few upgrades. You never know when it might come in handy.
Affirmative.
Watch out! They're dropping reinforcements in to slow us down. They've blocked the door.
Right, now as soon as we make a move, we have more enemies dropping in, and you can see it already, we have switched to the arc projector for this. What follows is arguably one of the hardest fights in the first half of this mission. However, I will hopefully be able to show you a strategy that will make it significantly easier. Now, as you just saw, the arc projector is a vital part of the strategy, but several other heavy weapons work as well. The arc projector has the big benefit, though, of not requiring an overly accurate aim. Now, the approach here is actually pretty simple. As soon as a fresh group of enemies is being brought in, we switch over to the arc projector and then launch a bolt of energy while they're all still clustered closely together. This will decimate the shields of all 4 enemies in the group, and up next we switch over to the sniper rifle to quickly and efficiently take out the engineer. The Shadow Broker Engineer is pretty similar to the Eclipse Engineer. It has access to a combat drone and the Incinerate ability, and both of those abilities can be a huge pain in the ass if you're fighting multiple enemies, so taking the Engineer out first makes things a lot easier. Afterwards, we're then only left with 3 regular Shadow Broker agents, and needless to say, without shields they all fall pretty quickly. Speaking of enemies without shields, one thing I have not mentioned yet is how to use our squad members' abilities in this fight, specifically Liara's Singularity. Because Singularity is an excellent ability to launch as soon as the arc projector's bolt hits. With their shields already removed, it will send all regular agents flying, which gives us a few extra seconds to focus on the engineer. That engineer, by the way, will likely have a little bit of his shield still left, but an overload from Garrus should quickly be able to take care of that. And that is pretty much how you can deal with every single group in this fight. If I'm not mistaken, there are a grand total of 5 of these groups, however, all with the exact same composition. Now, one thing to keep in mind, at least on higher difficulties, is the fact that the next wave of reinforcements will begin to fly in as soon as the previous one is down to the last soldier, so it definitely pays off to take out that last soldier very quickly, otherwise you might end up fighting on 2 fronts at the same time. I would also recommend leaving any squad members in a safe spot far away from the action. This is a fight where squad members tend to get themselves killed pretty easily, and especially with our reliance on Liara's Singularity, that would be a little bit inconvenient. Now, one thing I unfortunately forgot to pick up is the medkit inside of the taxi that brought us here. Normally you would grab that right at the start of this fight, but somehow I must have overlooked that. Now at this point we have made it to the end of the fight, made very clear here by this taxi taking off and causing the last enemy transport to crash into the building.
Come on, we can climb over to get to Vizier's car.
With no more enemies to bother us, we should grab all the ammunition we can find and also loot the bank terminal in the back. This will give us 1,500 credits and then we can continue chasing down Vasir. Now, the crashed enemy transport has created an opening for us to get into the apartment here, an apartment that we should by no means just blindly pass through. Inside of the apartment we can find a medkit, and this time we're not missing it, as well as some ammunition and a wall safe to bypass. And that wall safe is actually pretty important as it holds a grand total of 6,000 credits. Once we have everything, we can then talk to the patron in the bedroom and also learn a bit more about the place we're currently visiting.
Hey, we're unarmed. We didn't see anything.
What kind of hotel is this?
Azure. It's a luxury resort with an exotic edge. Azure is slang for a part of the Asari body in some areas of Illium.
Where?
Mainly the lower reaches, near the bottom.
I meant where on the Asari body.
So did I.
Right, with that valuable information we can now head back out of the building, where we can find Vasir's crashed shuttle containing a damage protection upgrade and some power cells.
A blood trail. Vasir got hurt in the crash.
That should slow her down.
And we can now follow that blood trail, which leads us to another apartment. At this point, we also want to change over to warp ammo. You will see why in just a moment.
She's lost a lot of blood. We have to be getting close.
She's tough. I'll give her that much.
She's a Spectre.
Alright, and here we want to head into the room on the right first. We could in theory now change our weapon loadout here, but we'll skip that and go right for the medkit. Back outside we can find another medical station on the fridge, as well as a PDA full of credits on the living room table. With all of those things in hand, now would be a good time to save the game, because the next door spells trouble.
Vasir, it's over.
Hey! Hey you!
Come here. What's your name?
Mariana.
Mariana. You want to live, don't you? Tell those people that you want to live.
Please.
Okay, we have an easy morality choice here, and of course we are going with the Paragon option and try to calm the hostage.
We'll get you out of here safely, Mariana.
Well, that's good to hear. All you had to do was walk away. Now it gets ugly.
Please, I have a son.
A son? I hope he gets to see you again. I've heard losing a parent is just horrific for children. Scars them for life.
I'm going to end you, Vasir.
It's okay, Liara. We'll handle it. The usual way.
You want Mariana's little boy to grow up without a mommy, Shepard? Thermal clips on the ground now. Power cells too.
Okay, we now have several options how to act here. The worst is probably to drop the thermal clips, which would also mean losing all of our precious heavy weapon ammo. Alternatively, we could wound the hostage for a few renegade points, but our approach will earn us 15 Paragon points if we let our charm come into play and tell Vasir who she's dealing with.
Is that it?
What?
Vasir, I sacrificed hundreds of human lives to save the Destiny Ascension. I unleashed the Rachni on the galaxy. So for your sake, I hope your escape plan doesn't hinge on me hesitating to shoot a damn hostage.
You're bluffing.
Now, Liara.
Alright, here we are with the big boss fight of this first half of the mission. Tela Vasir is a powerful biotic with huge amounts of barrier and armor to protect her, and she can use her biotic charge ability to quickly jump around the battlefield, making it extremely hard to land a shot against her. All in all, she can actually be considered as one of the toughest enemies in the entire game, if it wasn't for Liara's Stasis ability. As you can see here, we can use Stasis time and time again to freeze Vasir in place. It works all the time regardless of barrier and armor, and once Stasis wears off, Vasir goes down and we can lay into her. Now, once Vasir says these words, we want to stop with our Stasis barrage, because at this point in the fight she is scripted to escape, and any further damage we do will be more or less negated by a cutscene that sets in just a few moments. So instead, we'll let her escape and prepare for a small wave of reinforcements in the form of 2 rocket drones and 2 Shadow Broker engineers. Now, the drones are actually also very vulnerable to Stasis, because unlike Vasir, they can't fall to the ground and get back up. Instead, they will simply fall down and be destroyed. Even with the 2 rocket drones disposed of quickly though, the 2 engineers can be fairly annoying. Their incinerate ability can quickly eat away at our shields and push us out of cover, and they can send 2 combat drones against us as well. Still, numbers-wise we have the upper hand, so after a few early struggles this fight should get pretty lopsided pretty quickly. And there she is again, and we will continue with business as usual. Once again, Stasis will be our best friend for the next few moments. Somewhat unpleasant is the fact that Vasir returns with her barriers half full. We definitely reduced those a lot further in the first section of this fight, but that is the result of her scripted escape, which normally triggers once the barriers are down to 50%. Now, keep in mind that it is technically possible to never let her escape at all if we just keep using Stasis. I have actually been able to play out this fight without ever seeing a single drone or engineer. However, while Stasis is very much an ability that is intended to be used in this mission, I can't help but feel like such an approach is not the way this fight was meant to play out, so we'll give Vasir her scripted escapes. I think we should be able to handle a few more enemies. Now, with Vasir's barrier completely removed, she once again makes her escape and we are in for another wave of reinforcements. Just like last time, we're waiting for 2 combat drones and 2 engineers. This time though, the combat drones arrive a little earlier, giving us plenty of time to take them out before the engineers make it over to us. This second group of reinforcements, by the way, is the last one in this fight. Once these 4 enemies have been taken out, Vasir returns for one last time, and then it's up to us to finish the job or die trying. But again, with Liara in the squad, I doubt we're going to have too much trouble. I'm actually a little bit surprised they designed Stasis the way it is in this game, especially considering that it can be used in this way against individual enemies, of which Vasir is not the only one in this mission.
I'll finish you myself.
Now here she is, back again, ready for one more round, but our strategy remains the same. Our frequent use of Stasis not only more or less neutralizes Vasir's charge ability, which she would use quite regularly in a normal firefight, no, it also keeps her from using her biotic shockwave, which is another annoying little power that can push both us and our squad members out of cover. Now, our very straightforward goal here is to simply get Vasir's health bar down to 0. Once that has been accomplished, the fight is finally over and we unlock the most dangerous game achievement.
Oh, damn it! Damn it!
Sakat's personal data pad. This has what we need to find the Shadow Broker.
You're dead. The Shadow Broker has been in power for decades. He's stronger than anything you've ever faced.
Is that why you sold out the Council to work for him?
You think I betrayed the Council? Like Saren? Go to hell. The Broker's given me damn good intel over the years. Intel that saved lives and kept the Citadel safe. So if the Broker needs a few people to disappear, I'll pay that price without hesitation.
Now, this is the first of 2 more morality choices we have in this final conversation with Vasir. Needless to say, we're going Paragon once again, mostly because there's also no actual renegade alternative.
Spectres don't blow up buildings filled with innocent people.
Sure we do. We get our hands dirty so the Council doesn't have to. The Councilors might complain about our methods to soothe their consciences, but they never look too closely. Besides, you're with Cerberus. You have any idea what your terrorist friends have done?
And this time the choice is reversed. We can only pick the renegade option or the one that doesn't give any morality points at all, and once again, that is an easy choice.
The Council wasn't looking out for human interests. Somebody had to.
Human interests. I read the files, Shepard. Kidnapping kids for biotic death camps. Hell, your own unit on a cruise. And you're with them. Don't you dare judge me. Oh, don't you?
Eliminate Sony and retrieve the data. Civilian casualties not a concern.
Vasir's dead.
I'm putting the data through to the Normandy's computers. We can be at the Shadow Broker's base in a few hours. He'll know about Vasir before long, if he decides to kill Farron.
We'll get Farron out of there alive, Liara. I promise.
I know. You're here to help. Just like always.
That's not a good thing?
When we first met on Therum, you saved me from the Geth. You fought a Krogan battlemaster while I cowered. Now you're doing it again. And I'm still leaning on you for help.
That's what friends do, Liara.
I can get us there based on Sakat's data. The Normandy's stealth drive will keep them from detecting us. The Shadow Broker's agents are still shooting their way through Illium. With luck, they won't notice we've left until it's too late.
That's a little cold. They killed innocent people.
You know what I mean.
Do I? When I hit the ground back at the trade center, you went after Vasir without a backward look.
A little fall wasn't going to kill you. I had to stay on Vasir. I had to stay rational, make the call, like I did with Sakat.
That's Vasir's fault, not yours.
Sakat had no idea what the stakes were. I put him in harm's way to get the data I needed. I got him killed. And I'd do it again. But from here on out, things will be simple. Get in, get Farron, get out. And kill anyone who tries to stop us.
That's it?
That's it.
Will you just stop for a second? We'll be jumping several light years. There's time to talk.
About what?
Okay, after several Paragon interruptions that don't actually give Paragon points, we now have another dialogue choice to make. And since we are officially still in a relationship with Liara, let's talk about that, albeit briefly.
About us.
Shepard, listen, I'm glad you're here.
Are you worried there might be terminals you need me to hack?
That's not fair. You were dead.
I came back.
It's not that easy. You can't just come back and have 2 years of mourning suddenly vanish. I'm sorry, Shepard. I can't get into this. For now, let's just focus on getting Farron back.
Fine.
Okay, here we are now in the squad selection screen as we're now getting ready for the second half of this mission. That one should once again be about as long as this one, so this mission is not quite suitable to squeeze it all into one episode. In my opinion though, this right here is probably the perfect point to make the cut. We will change our location for the next half of the mission, so I would say let's wrap things up right here. As always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would be happy if you could leave a thumbs up. And if you want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Alternatively, you can also check out and maybe pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.